Excellent. There was a good film. Yeah. Enjoyed this morning, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah. Excuse my back, but it's the best part of me. So we've got about a minute before we go live. So I just wanted to say, ladies and gentlemen, a big thank you to everybody here at Newton Hall, especially those of you that have come in to watch over the last 3 days, and to the members of the club here for coming in and helping. Without all that help, we couldn't do it. And I'd also like to say a big thank you to Funeralcare, because of course if they didn't sponsor things like this, we couldn't pay for all of this. So, you know, just wanted to say thank you to all of those as well. Oh, thank you very much. But, well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the finals. So, we've got 2 finals this afternoon. That is because there are 2 sections and 2 winners to go through to the events, and they're called tour car holders. So, without further ado, let's bring your players on. Well, your first player, ladies and gentlemen, he's an English international, a British Isles title holder, a World Singles quarter-finalist. It's the Ginger Ninja, Connor Sinato. Well, ladies and gentlemen, up against the Ginger Ninja, it's Super Bowl singles champion, former tour car champion, #1 on the PBA rankings. It's the magician, Billy Jackson.
Well, thanks, Richard, and that was a brilliant shot there, Dan, of Billy Jackson looking right at our new camera, our ditch cam, giving it a nice little wave. Thanks, Billy.
He did indeed, Janice. Yesterday, when he was announced as the magician, he said, "Oh, look, I've disappeared," and dived behind one of the advertising hoardings.
Yeah, certainly both of these players out here for the first tour card final in the Co-operative Funeralcare European Masters 2016. Both characters, both enjoy a bit of banter. As Richard just mentioned in the opening sequence there, both were part of Super Bowl back in 2014. Connor got to the semi-finals there, and Billy Jackson went on to win the title at Super Bowl. Both very, very comfortable on this rink. And as Richard mentioned, yes, I'm joined in commentary by Dan McManus, one of the match officials here at the WBT. I think we've got a good game on the cards here, Dan.
Absolutely. During the course of the week, marked both Connor and Billy's games, and they've been tight. Connor came through, obviously, in the tie-break. First tie-break of the week in match 9 against Brian Hawkins, and won that 2-0. And obviously, Billy beat John McCutcheon in the second tie-break in match 10, so it's got the makings of a classic final here at Newton Hall.
Yeah, I'm sure Billy won't mind me saying age versus experience, mainly because Billy's experience is vast. He's world champion in the singles, and he also won the world pairs title 2 consecutive years with his pairs partner at that time, David Gawley, who we all know won the International Open here back in March. So really on the cards for a good game. And Connor, well, he went to the World Championships in January and beat one Andy Thompson, MBE, in the first round. So he's keen to get back involved and get one of these tour cards. The tour card here, the winner of this game gets entry into every one of the World Bowls Tour ranking events for next season. This is the last day of the last tournament of the WBT 2015-2016 season. And the winner here will go into 2016-17 into every WBT ranking event. Big chance of being able to get back into the top 16 for Billy if he could win it. Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. He's obviously had a unlucky result there, just hitting the ball of Connor's off the green, but Connor's managed to stay and looks as if he's holding one at the moment.
One red.
And just confirmed there by the marker, Alan Thornhill. Interesting, we've also got the battle of the Drake's Pride professionals, which Connor's playing with, and the Henselite Tigers that Billy's playing with.
Yeah, Connor's opted to go for his professionals. He does like to play with the XP, which is quite a big swingy bowl, but
Two red.
he's opted for the professionals and played very well with them. Struggled a little bit yesterday, as did Billy. They both went to tie breaks to get their places in the final, but Billy's playing with the famous Bird Tigers that a lot of the top 16 like to play with. But are pool bowls here at the WBT.
Two shots, Connor Sonato.
Connor takes first blood there. And I believe somewhere in the crowd talking about Super Bowl is Danny Barwise, one of the top Crown Green players in the country from Merseyside, who was Billy Jackson's pairs partner at Super Bowl. They got to the final, just lost out in the final. So, yeah, I can see him in the crowd there. I'm sure our camera will pick him up at some point. Come down just specially today to support Billy, but also to support Connor. Connor was part of Super Bowl, and they all did take to Connor, the Crown Greeners. There you go. Oh, with a pint in his hand. Yeah, that's the usual view of Danny, to be fair, a pint in his hand. Like I say, Danny got to the final of Super Bowl playing with Billy Jackson. So he's come all the way up from Merseyside to support his good friend Billy. Well, we noticed in the last game out there, Dan, that players in this direction just struggled a little bit for pace.
Again, Janice, we've seen the temperature in the arena fluctuate from where it was this morning. It's a very hot day here at Newton Hall outside, and that obviously has an impact on the heat that's generated in the arena, which often impacts on the bowls.
Yeah, I also mentioned a bit earlier, we obviously have the front door open because it's a lovely warm day outside. Both sat out there for our lunch, didn't we, because
Absolutely.
of the getting a bit of fresh air. So, yeah, it could make a difference just bowling in this direction.
It's interesting, Janice, to see the stance of a lot of the young players following on. They all seem to be this stepping out method and kind of coming 5-10 yards up the green just to get a better angle of where their ball's coming in.
Yeah, there's certainly different deliveries. Billy Jackson's is probably one of the most textbook deliveries. Pendulum action. Very, very solid with his stance before he actually delivers the bowl. Whereas a lot of the more fluid players now, they're actually moving all the time on the mat.
Slight favour, two red.
Watch Connor here now. There's quite a lot of movement within that delivery. And Connor won't be frightened out here. He's very, very confident a player. Like I say, he got the taste for the WBT events at the World Championships, and he knows what a big deal this would be.
Connor gets the big deal for himself, but obviously we know Billy's just sat outside the top 16, so the opportunity to get the tour card gives him the opportunity to pick up his ranking points and make a push to get into the top 16.
Yeah, when Billy dropped out, he
One
tried
shot,
to
Connor
qualify,
Sonato.
but speak to him about it, and he felt his motivation just wasn't there at the time, whereas now he wants to get back in that top 16. Enjoyed the tour very much, so he'll be very, very keen to win this tour card. But this young man from the Kingsthorpe Club at Northampton will be keen to stop him.
Battling 13.
Sticking to the same or similar length of jack, Janison, he's been trying to play with the full tournament. Just at 30, 31 and a half full length style jacks from Connor.
Yeah, and always sticking to this side of the rink as well, unless he's forced to the other hand. The side where the spectators are sitting is the swingier hand on the rink, and Connor will stick to that where he possibly can.
Of course, we remember from yesterday in Billy's game against John McCutcheon, really found it difficult to catch John with the short jacks, the 23 and a half metre jacks. It took him a wee while for Billy to get in on that. Obviously, John taking the first set in that game 9-3 before Billy came back and took the second set and ultimately took the tie break to reach this final.
Yeah, I spoke to Billy about that after the game, because he does actually like to play the shorter length jack with these swingy tiger bowls, the birds.
14 inches short.
But
Jack.
he just felt yesterday he just struggled to get the pace. I think he was hoping to get the pace a bit quicker today. And like you say, Connor will stick to the longer length jack.
Makes a massive difference for the players that they can't burn the end during the game, Janice. That the short or jacks obviously makes it slightly easier for the players to hit it at a running shot or a firing shot. But obviously with WBT they'll be going on to the respots. Brings in a little more technical and tactical aspects to their game.
Well, Connor looks down a good line here. He's urging it on. Touch on the jack. Great bowl there from Connor. Certainly found the form again of
Ring rate.
yesterday's game.
It's 5 inches short of jack one.
Billy won't be short to this. He'll reach up. He can get the bowl or the jack. If he's slightly tight, he might get onto his own shorter bowls. Billy likes to play a reaching bowl. Played them very well yesterday. Yep, got second bowl out of it. There was always options down there.
Question is, does Connor try and draw here, or does he
One way.
try and just push that green ball through that gap? They're a very difficult shot to play, but perhaps at this early in the game it might be worth a try to get a few counters.
Yeah, well, he's quite a brave player, is Connor. Only thing he won't want to do is get the outside edge of his own bowl. Looks on a very good track. Not sure on his pace for the job. I think he's just going to pull up short. Looks down a good line here. Bowl solid or the jack. Oh, he just got wrecked on. Perhaps Connor put that in deliberately. I don't think he did, but does mean he picks up one
One
shot.
shot. Connor Sonato.
Of course, Alan Thornhill, who's our marker on the rink there today, he was part of the umpires setup that supervised proceedings, shall we say, at Super Bowl when Billy and Connor were involved, as was Mike Davis, who's not with us this week at this event, and also the now retired, or after today, officially retired, Sandra McLeish. This is the last day of World Bowls Tour events for this season, and she retires at the end of the season. So, yeah, I suppose officially on the list, this is her last day. She got a great send-off from all the players, World Bowls Tour directors, and all of us that have known her over the years. And she particularly sent a message through today. She just wants to thank everyone for their kind messages and thank everybody that's involved in the WBT, especially my teammates. I know she thought a lot of the team that she worked with. It's very much teamwork out there. As Dan, you've come on board as one of the new officials evolved, and it's very much teamwork out there on the rinks.
Absolutely. As I explained earlier in the week, when we were in such a different environment, that it's great to have world-leading officials round about you as a newbie that you can learn from and take from their experience. I spoke to Sandra about half an hour ago, Janice, and she's sitting in her caravan in Berwick upon Tweed, getting ready to watch the football and share a glass of wine, but no doubt the YouTube stream will be on the iPad that she always carries with her.
Yes, I think she's quite famous for always having that iPad and camera about, and I'm sure she'll turn up to all of the events. If you are listening in, Sandra, you know you're always welcome. The Sweetie Tub is always available in the commentary box as well, if you're about. Yeah, Sandra's worked with lots of different umpires on the WBT team over the years, but she definitely felt it was a very strong team. It'd be sad to not have her smile on the circuit, but like I say, I think she'll pop her head round the door at a couple of events.
One red.
Fantastic team of
No, last one. It's a bowl.
officials here at the WBT. We've got, as I mentioned, Alan Thornhill on the rink, Dan Blewett, Francis Fletcher and Dan McManus are the 4 umpires here. And also on the team we've got Tom Weir and Mike Davis. As I mentioned, Sandra McLeish officially retires at the end of this season, which is at the end of today.
Question often we get asked, Janice, is when does the shot clock start? It's important that viewers realise, just as we see the shot clock there in the top left hand corner of the screen for the viewers, that we won't actually start the shot clock until the marker has finished tidying up the balls from a drive shot or some.
Yeah, you're quite right there to mention that to the viewers, because obviously when a drive shot finishes in the ditch or the gutter at the back, a lot of people would think that that's actually it finishing, coming to rest, so therefore the shot clock should start. But the marker that's on the rink's actually got to sort those bowls out. It's the same if there's a runner which alters the head and there's a lot of bowls go flying perhaps off the side of the rink down. You've got to take that time until it's all ready to go again before you start the player's shot clock.
You've got to give it everything time to settle down and make sure that as a marker, whilst we're moving around the head, that the player's not disadvantaged by our movement whilst we're just getting the game ready, and make sure that there's no balls that are dead that should have been removed. Just gives them a few more seconds just while we get things ready to go. But important shot coming up here for Billy, with Connor piling the pressure on in the first 3 ends so far and currently lying shot in the 4th end.
Yeah, I think Billy will have to try and change something here. He's going with a lot more weight. He's in the area. Oh, very unlucky not to get some sort of connection into shot bowl.
One shot, not a Sonato.
Very good lead early on in this first tour card final. Connor Sinato 4 ends in, 5-0 up. We have seen though today, Dan, things can just change in an end. We've had a few counts of 4 over the day.
Yeah, absolutely. In the game from earlier today, the big one was the Robert Chisholm shot from earlier with the...
We certainly had a 4 when Robert Chisholm played Tony Webb. It was quite interesting. You normally say at this level you don't get 4s and 3s, but within that game certainly had a number of counts.
big one as well from the Mark McPeak, Gary Smith game.
Absolutely unbelievable bowl. I just spoke to Gary Smith about that. I'm sure it'll be brought up in commentary in the next game as well, but Gary said, I didn't think he could get it, and I don't think any of us thought that Mark McPeak could take Gary Smith's bowl out of the head at the last end and stay to count the 4 he needed to tie the set, which gave him the win in the game, but he got it perfect. More of a loose end here from Connor. It's interesting, as you said, about the change of temperature out there. A bit more predictable, this rink, than the portable rink. The portable rink changes temperature and pace quite frequently. And of course, here at the European Masters Finals, a great shot there of Gary Smith, last year's tour card winner, not winning one this year. Yeah, the portable rink changes pace quite frequently, whereas here it's a bona fide rink. We play on rink 2 here at Blackpool Newton Hall. Stands and seating as you see it are on rinks 1 and 3. Oh, Billy's close again. Would that be something to do with commentator's curse? We were just mentioning counts of 3s and 4s.
Maybe it's time to see Connor's drive shot, which he's not had to rely on so far in this game. He might just be tempted here just to get in about it. He's obviously got the back bowls.
It's a very quick drive. Looks in the area, very close, the right result here. He was very lucky to only get 1 away there. The other 2 bowls virtually didn't move.
Very unlucky.
He's shaking his head at that, but if he sees that back on the replay, he looked bang on the right target. He was unlucky not to get at least 2 of those bowls away. Don't forget, if you're watching us on YouTube this afternoon and you want to put any of your questions to Dan McManus or anything to do with the WBT, just bob them on the chat at the side or send us them through on Facebook.
Free shot, Billy Jackson.
That's what we do like about this YouTube. We feel like we've got your company. Here we see Connor's drive again. Look at that, perfectly down that line. Manages to just clip the middle bowl out the head.
It's one of those shots, Janice, where you say I couldn't have done that if I'd tried it. It just wouldn't have come off if you'd been trying just to lift that one ball out ahead.
Yeah, it's quite interesting seeing that again because he was really down the line perfectly.
29 minutes.
Well, that certainly gets Billy Jackson back in this first set. He's picked up a 3. It's now 5-3 to Connor Sinato after 5 ends.
Billy's obviously feeling comfortable with longer length jack as well, Janice, as you mentioned earlier, because he stuck to 29-metre jack there. So slightly shorter than Connor's, but not a huge difference.
No, I think Connor might be quite surprised at that. I think he was expecting Billy Jackson to go short jacks. Connor's parents sat in the audience there, Martin and Caroline. Support their son all over. They travel all over, take him round and about. Of course, he's only just really of driving age. He's just reached the tender age of 20 years old. He's been driving now for a short while, but Mum and Dad, of course, will still want to go out and about and support him.
Great way of Mum and Dad to take you, and that way you save the petrol costs, Janice.
And also it means if
ready?
he's not driving, he can have the occasional drink. Connor's not a drinker anyway, so that won't bother him. I did say that with a smile at the time. Well, Billy, can he get back to this jack? Well, if this is a length and sits down, gets shot. Yep, shot bowl. Connor's following this ball up, just wants to have a look at the angles. Billy really needs to try and get another one in the head here, and that last ball of Connor's will have given him a good target to just get inside, just rest off it. I don't know whether he's reached with this. No, body language says he knows he's short.
Chance here for Connor, maybe just coming in the backhand there, Janice, into that jack, just get a slight touch on it and possibly get a count of 3 out of this.
Yeah, even if he just turned the bowl and sat back off it, he might get a 2. Touch on the jack would be very good. He's obviously seen it because he's been up at the head. It's a big bowl here. I tell you what, he's close. He is very close to this. Oh, very, very unlucky. Not sure whether he's turned it away for one shot, but it's locked on his own back bowl.
One shot on a Sonata.
Well, he got the shot out of it, but it could have gone a lot better as well.
Set score 6-3, 6-10.
See that on a replay. Looks to have the bowl, but it sticks on the back bowl.
Couple of shots now, Connor's just need that wee bit of luck, and he's not quite got it for the big conversion shot there, but he'll be happy with the one, get it back to full length jack. Looks like a 30 metre jack again. It's another metre on from the last end.
You probably saw Billy Jackson just having a word into the black hole at the back of the screen. Don't think he was talking to himself. I think behind that camera at that top end, I'm pretty sure, is the club manager here, Jonathan Goodall. So he was actually talking to somebody, he wasn't talking to himself. Great ball there from Billy Jackson. He got the nickname the Magician at Super Bowl because he turned round some amazing ends, particularly against Nicky Brett. He had a bowl that was unbelievable. Now we've just had news in, Dan, that Sandra is listening in. She's sitting in the sunshine. Very nice, Sandra. Is it as warm as it was a couple of weeks ago when we were off in Spain? Probably not, but I believe the temperatures were supposed to get quite high out there today, Dan.
Yeah, Sandra, it's supposed to get... Sandra will be sitting out, with, no doubt, with a glass of wine and enjoying her caravan and enjoying the time that she's having off while the rest of us are working hard here in Newton Hall.
Well, Connor, looks down a good line. Bowl or jack? Yep, good bowl.
One ready. Gap is 5 inches. Your bowl gap is 16 inches.
He's going to have to look here, is Billy, at how he can best get to draw around that. His bowls are so swingy they will come back off this side. But he's opting to try and play the bowl out. Thought he might. Any sort of piece of it. Well, can't believe that touched that and didn't take it out the head.
Connor's just getting an opportunity here just to draw in just behind the jack and cover that in case Billy makes contact and takes it further back. Cover both sides of it. Here would be the shot that you would imagine Connor would be looking at.
Even if he turns his own bowl down, it helps. We're in that famous 7th end of a 9-end set, and if Connor could pick up a couple of shots here, it would certainly help the Connor cause. Yeah, great bowl.
2 red.
He's got to be brave here. Very brave. He's trying to find that gap. Gets his own bowl solid. That might help. No, I think it's 2 shots to Connor.
2 shots on a Sonato.
That gives him an 8-3 lead. 5 up with 2 ends to play. Stranger things have happened this week. Down we've seen 2 threes to finish off a set, so possible.
A game of bowls, Janice. You never know what you can happen with a couple ends of going. We've seen people 20-0 up in a singles game and telling the famous stories of losing 21-20. Again, sticking with that consistent jack length of 30 metres. Slight pause from him there and before he placed his mat. But generally this set he stuck to that 30.5 metre length.
Yeah, stick to his own strengths rather than try to outthink Billy. Just if he keeps drawing like this, Connor, you don't need to be outthinking. Yeah, as I've heard several times of people being 20-0 or 21 up and then losing games. Of course, the sets play a bit different to the 21 up game. You can go away from you pretty quickly, especially in qualifiers, because we play 7-end sets in qualifiers, 9-end sets when we get to TV. For any of you questioning out there why we're playing 9 ends here, as we normally play 11 ends for finals. This is obviously the European Masters to get into the WBT ranking events, and it's at the ranking events where we play slightly longer finals.
The set setup, Janice, really gives the player the opportunity that having lost the first set, that they can clear it out of their mind and really start again and focus on more winning the second set rather than what's happened before. It gives them the opportunity of almost starting again before considering tie breaks and things like that.
Yeah, and both of these players yesterday lost the first set, won the second set and then won the tie break, so they both know it's possible for Billy to lose this set and yet still win the game. But 5 behind, there's still a chance, but I really do feel Billy needs to reach Jack with this bowl to give himself a chance.
Yeah, Billy lost the first set 9-3 yesterday against John McCutcheon, and then come back and won the second one 10-3 and then 2-0 in the tie break.
Strange game sometimes. Better shot here.
It's a classic example there, Janice, of a player asking a question. Billy asked Alan Thornhill what the gap was between the jack and the short bowl. Alan told him it's 7 inches. Billy then knew he was able to draw inside that and lie down without moving the jack and get the shot out of it.
Yeah, a chance for Billy here. That bowl will just have sat down and made it look worse. Really needs to count the 2 here. 1 would leave him
Breaks
needing
ball
4 to tie the set on the last end. I've said before, if a player's told 4 or 5 inches gap, you sort of know that you've got to try and rest on the bowl or move the bowl that's close. Whereas in that case, Billy knew there was enough room for him to get his bowl between the shot bowl and the jack.
One shot, Billy Jackson.
Well, that 1 shot to Billy means he needs to score a 4
Score 8,
on the
4,
last
8.
end to tie this first set. Billy from the Lincoln Indoor Bowls Club. But of course he got his place in this event by being the top ranked PBA player in the PBA rankings. The PBAs are open to any sex, any age, any ability. Just join your local PBA branch. We'll inform you of where the qualifiers are. And you can have a go. Join these tour card events. Now Connor won his tour card at New Earswick. They're a great day. You normally get 2 or 3 games in a round robin. And then a semi-final and final. You get your place here. And you can play in as many of those as you want until you win one. Once you've won one and won your place in this event, you can't play in any more.
It's interesting, this will be Billy's last event of the season as well, because obviously he retired from playing outdoor lawn bowls in 2009. Janice was at that point looking just to take a bit of a break and look at coming back indoors as he's doing just now and try to get back into the top 16.
Yes, of course, Billy still plays in the Grand Prix, which is at Lincoln. Played on Mondays and Tuesdays over there at the Lincoln Indoor Bowls Club throughout the summer. So he'll still get the occasional game during the outdoor season, but playing indoors, which just sort of keeps your hand in. But he certainly won't be playing the 5 or 6 times a week that he normally does when he's indoors. I really think that this is just a question of sending bowls at the moment, because with Billy putting a short bowl in, there's no chance to pick up the 4 he requires to tie the set. I think he was probably looking to try and just promote his short bowl as well there, Dana. Moved it a couple of times on the way up. He might have given himself a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Only to make contact with that. All Connor will be looking to do here is just to split those 2 green bowls and make sure that he's not going to give anything away too easily. He's on a good line.
Could even get a piece of the jack here. The bowl there would be perfect, yeah. Playing well today, Connor. He struggled a little bit yesterday, but certainly found his form again here.
He's taking that jack out and it's been out the rink there, so Alan Thornhill will put that onto the respot just to the right hand side of the tee as you're looking at the picture there.
One shot in the first set, Connor Sonata.
Yeah, I think it was kind of irrelevant there because Billy had to score 4. But Connor Sinato, the young man from Kingsthorpe, Northampton, takes the first set in this tour card 1. Just see that shot of Connor's perfectly rests on Billy's bowl, takes away any chance of him trying to score a 4. And as you mentioned before, Dan, sort of start afresh now. Second set, 9 ends. Great to hear we've got
30 and a half minutes.
a lot of viewers listening in this afternoon to these finals. Dan, and don't forget, if you want to put your questions to us, just lob them to us on the YouTube chat. Try to keep you informed here at the WBT, and if you can't stay with us live for these two finals, all the scores you'll find on the worldbowlstour.tv website. But hopefully you'll be able to do like Sandra McLeish is doing and sit outside in the sunshine listening into two great games of bowls. And Billy will want to get off to a good start in this second set. He won't want Connor to run away with the title. It's a nice piece of glassware as well, Dan. I was having a look at them before. The lovely shaped glass with a little glass world in the middle of them.
Yeah, I saw them come out all freshly polished and put onto the trophy shelf just prior to the final starting today. Any title in bowls, Janice, means something.
Oh, very definitely.
These guys, even Connor at a young age has already got the credentials of a very good player, and Billy's been there, seen that, done that, and got quite a few titles after his name now. Again, coming up this way, short bowl from Billy.
Yeah, quite surprising when his first bowl was quite a good bowl. Like I say, he certainly won't want Connor to run away with the second set as well. He'll want to put his mark on this, bring all his experience to the fore. Urging this on shows how much these games mean to these players.
Last bowl gap is 4 inches.
Known Connor for a couple of years now. I know he's got a good head on the shoulders. Great shot by Billy. I'm sure ditch cam will come into operation now, Dan, and I think Billy's bowl virtually followed that right into the ditch. Yeah, very close that.
Very, very difficult shot to beat now, Janice, for Connor to...
Yes, great. We've got this new ditch cam now. Prior to that, anything that went sort of past the tee area on the rink, our end cameras just struggled to get to for you viewers at home. We're trying to make improvements all the time. You've got replays now in situ. And there's our ditch cam again.
You seem to have been playing with lots of new toys on the technology front this week, Janice, with action replays, ditch cams, replay sequences at the end. It's great to see the World Bowls Tour constantly investing and improving on its technology.
Well, you see so many of the sports nowadays. I'm a big tennis fan, Dan, and a lot of the sports are now moving a lot of their events onto streaming. And most people nowadays have either a smartphone, an iPad or a computer, so in the old days none of these games you would have been able to see. Whereas now every one of our World Bowls Tour events we bring to you, we try and show you every single bowl played.
It's always interesting as well, Janice, to read the match reports after the games that go up live on worldbowlstour.tv, where you can read the reports afterwards and the games that you've maybe missed if you've had to go out at the weekend.
Yes, again, that's a great view of the trophies. There's a little blue bowl in the middle of there that's the shape of a world with the map of the world on it. It's really, really nice. Quite fancy one of those myself, to be honest. And I nearly got here, just missed out on the final games. So it's a good one to have a go in, the tour card. Nice piece of glassware to put on your mantelpiece there. Connor again. Great bowl.
1 round.
Yeah, we were talking about qualifiers there. Connor went to the pool qualifiers for the Scottish International Open and the International Open and just missed out. I think he said this gives him the second shout at that. If he won this today, it would give him both of those plus the world singles. So that would mean he'd only have to travel somewhere to play world pairs.
Your bowl 7 inches short of jack high. Gap is 8 inches. Connor's bowl 12 inches short of jack high.
Oh, if this is a good weight, it'll make it all the way back off this hand. Yep, looking at 2 there, I think.
Tends to be the hand that the players are favouring Janice coming down this direction. There's a drive shot.
Close. Very, very close. Got a piece of the jack as well. Oh no, if that's gone out of the side confines of the rink, he's flicked Billy Jackson's bowl out there. Looks like it probably has. Ditch cam coming into effect again. Seen Alan Thornhill removing the bowls that are going in the back ditch. Dan Blewett passing Alan Thornhill the jack and carefully places it on the re-spot. Yeah, just asking if that bowl's a length
2.5 feet.
and how far short his other bowl is. The problem for Billy here is playing with such strong bowls. We do know they'll get back from the ditch side to the re-spot, but he's going to have to really... Whoa! Like that. Really, really risk it out there.
Alan will lift that ball and declare it dead because it's passed completely out with the confines of the rink. It's not like indoor five-a-side football where you can use the walls to assist you.
Well, that would be a good idea if you got your angles right, like playing to get out of trouble in snooker. If you've been snookered and you can play off all the angles, that would be quite interesting.
With the pace, Janice, that some of these guys deliver their balls at, they might not have much of a set left.
Well, 1 to Billy.
One shot, Billy Jackson.
Yeah, just as you said that, I'll just go back to
0-2.
it's, Connor's drive. Absolutely perfectly on target. But if you just watch now, Billy Jackson's bowl there to the left of your screen just follows through to the re-spot. Yeah, I was just going to say that at Super Bowl in one of the practice sessions we had a gentleman here called Callum Raitt, who is probably the quickest striker you could ever see, and he actually in practice put one of the jacks into the back board of the set and it just stuck there halfway between where you see the camera hole and the rink. Fortunately, the CEO of the World Bowl Store, Richard Maddison, had already anticipated there might be some striking in Super Bowl and had several replacement panels ready to go. I also remember another one of the players, Lee Bomber Brown. He hit it so hard that it went up and took out one of the ceiling panels.
there's often a question of why do you see the umpire moving to the front, the player side of the jack, when a player decides to fire. There are a couple of reasons for it, Janice. One of the reasons being that we get a better view to see if that running ball makes contact with the jack and becomes a toucher, so therefore it would be live in the ditch. The second reason is to get the official out the road in case they get hit with a jack or a ball. With the speed these guys are firing at, you could end up with all kinds of injuries if you're not quick enough.
Yes, I think there's a lot of big strikers now in the game, even in leagues and in nationals. Always the best position is to walk back up the rink and look back down towards the head. And obviously at World Bowls Tour level, all three officials that are out there, if there's a drive shot involved, they all try to get an angle where they can see what happens so that you can assist each other.
Yeah, absolutely. It's back to that team effort that we were talking about earlier on. We do rely on the other members of our team to give us support, help and advice when it gets challenging out there. You mentioned your national finals, Janice. I'll take the wee opportunity to give a shout out to Senga Robertson and her husband Thomas, who have just sent me a text message in the last couple of minutes confirming my accommodation for the Scottish national finals from the 24th of July to the 31st at Northfield in Ayr. So a big shout out to them from Stoneyet's Bowling Club for making sure my accommodation's all sorted for the national finals.
Well, of course, a number of new umpires are also outdoor umpires as well, so
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, between
I
the
think
two
all
balls,
of the guys in the tour do
2.5 inches.
umpiring in their local area. Just because we do the World Bowls Tour doesn't mean that we're not available for local events, and events that we did before the World Bowls Tour, and no doubt we'll continue to do them after.
well, Billy needs to get a little piece of Connor's bowl here. Connor drew a superb shot in. Wanted to stop the rot of the run of Billy Jackson. So all the World Bowls Tour officials have full-time jobs outside of World Bowls Tour. One or two are retired. But they really are a great team. You have some smiles along the way, which I think you've got to do at these events. Close here again from Connor. Yep, made two.
Two shots, Collison Arthur.
That ties it all up again in the second set. 2-2 after 3 ends.
Or 2-2 yeah.
Connor's having a think again. Just again put the mat back onto that first spot. You see the spots down the centre of the rink there. It gives the players an idea where to place the mat, and it also helps the umpires judge what length the jack is. Well, Connor, that was very close to going off.
Yeah, the spot's very important for us when we're calling out the length of the jack. Some players in particular want to know how far the jack is up the green, because it really makes a difference to them. However, I did prefer the GPS tracker in the jack story. It certainly gave us some entertainment when people ask that question.
Yes, certainly some of the top 16 particular people that I can think of, like Alex Marshall, he likes to actually know what the jack length is and will often stop and re-ask the umpire what length the jack stopped at if he didn't quite hear it. Great ball from Billy. Yes, we do question and answer sessions, certainly at the World Championships and other events, and often if the umpires get asked about how do they judge the distance from mat to jack, the first answer normally comes as it being a GPS satellite system that you use. Would you like to give the viewers the real answer, Dan?
The answer's actually quite simple, but it can be complicated at the same time. Effectively, the distance from tee to tee is 31.5 metres on this rink, 29.5 metres on the portable rink. So if the mat is at the first tee, the first spot after the rear tee, that's a metre off, and it's a metre for every tee spot that we move up the green. So you just take the 31 metres and deduct the difference off and do a quick calculation and give the rough position of the jack.
Let's always try to be within half a metre for the players.
As close as we possibly can with it.
Well, Billy's got a chance here. He's just asking which of Connor's bowls is closer. Connor's left himself a bowl to try and retrieve the situation here. He had a loose end in the first set, where he dropped to 3. Could we be seeing something similar in the second set? Great ball from Billy. He's not made the target any bigger there at all. Connor didn't waste any time there on the mat. I think you were saying the other day that he was very, very quick when you were on the shot clock once. Not taking long to deliver the bolt.
Not at all. Connor and Gerard Breen were both very, very quick. One on the match straight after the other. 2-3 second delivery time, and you were resetting Gizmo, as we call her, back to the usual 30 seconds.
We've got Gizmo now and Ditch Cam.
You're playing with too many of Phil's new toys this week, Janice. That's
Very
the
much
problem.
Four shot, Billy
Four
Jackson.
shots to Billy Jackson. Well, Connor had a loose end in the first set, dropped to 3, he's just dropped to 4. I think Billy will take a bit of time now to decide what length to play.
Maybe, as you mentioned, he might go for the shorter jack that he was preferring. Did struggle with that against John McHutchison.
Yeah, I thought he might have even tried Matt back and Jack short. Not a length that Connor's played in the last couple of days, so it might have been worth trying something totally different there.
I always find that quite difficult. Janice, it's easier to bring the mat up the green and play to the tee than it is to play a shorter jack length, because if you've got 3 metres in WBT to run through before you go into the ditch. With a short jack, you've got to be pretty spot on, otherwise it'll be an illegal jack and sent back for your opponent to deliver.
But also, if you do take the other side to that, Dan, is if you take the mat up and put the jack on the tee. This young man on the mat's quite good at his runners. And on that sort of length, he could always ditch the jack. Whereas on a shorter length, there's a chance that the jack might even stay on at the back of a rink.
Yeah.
It's all preference, and Billy's got to have decided on this length because he feels he can put pressure on Connor. Played a bit of a loose opening bowl. All on the pace of this. This is a great line. All on the pace of this bowl. Yep, good bowl. Now, the other thing is, Connor's only 20. Billy's just a little bit past 21. The experience, from Connor's point of view, this is a huge, huge event to win. Yeah, it's Connor's chosen to change his hand here, but he's ended up short. So again, giving Billy a chance.
Billy's just short in that delivery as well. Janice, there's a few loose balls in this end. That's considering the standard of the last couple of ends. Both players will be disappointed.
Well, I think if Billy had have just got another shot in there, it would really have put the pressure on Connor. He's just had a couple of loose ends, but he's only one down here, so I tell you what, he's close here as well. Well, I think that might have just gone wrong for him, and if that jack stayed in, well, even if it comes back on the respot,
Shot, Billy Jackson.
it's going to be 2 to Billy. That's what Billy needed. He didn't do it himself, though. He did one, and you will see on the replay. Thought we were going to see on the replay, and the replay just disappeared. Ah, there we go, the replay. Touch on the jack. It's unfortunate not to just get the bowl there, to be honest. That's what he was after.
Billy's back now to playing 30-metre jacks.
Yeah, well, he had to mess about with the different lengths. Certainly going in this direction, he's found a nice line on this backhand, which is a swingy hand, the side where the spectators are sitting. He's close here. If this is a length, it's a very good bolt. Well, Connor's under the line. He's certainly just not played as well the last 2 ends. I'm just wondering if, like I say, that the magnitude of what they're playing for here might just be getting to the young Connor.
Also remember from yesterday's game with Billy that Billy won the second set 10-3. So maybe just that Blackpool, it's taking him time to settle in to these semi-finals and finals, where he's just needing the first set to settle in, and then is getting into his groove, if you like, for the second set.
Well, the game he played the first day against Matthew Wyers, Billy Jackson was absolutely at his magician best. He played some brilliant bowls. It was a good game. Matthew played well, but Billy had the edge there. Yesterday, as you mentioned, he just struggled in the first set, but came on to a good game in the second. He really would like to put another in here. Quite a crucial end here. I know we're only in end 6, but if Billy could count 2 off this end, and he just needs to run with this. I think with it being that bit short, it's just got wrecked on Connor's short bolt.
You saw Billy asking Alan Thornhill a question there, whether the jack was touching his green bowl. It can make quite a difference in terms of the reaction you get from the jack when it's hit. So it's quite an important question we very often get from players.
Well, the thing is, if you just touch that bowl, the jack will spring away from it, and Billy doesn't really want to open it up. Well, this is off target. Will he get an edge off his own bolt?
I think that's the first one today, Janice, that he's not made contact with something in the head.
very, very good with those drive
Yeah,
shots.
your ball does, yeah.
Connor, of course, is a current under 25s England international. He's played a lot of under 18 stuff in the past. Up to the WIBC finals in Jersey. Came in as a substitute there, but managed to get to the quarter-finals. So he's got various different experience. Will travel all over to play as well. But I mean, we're looking at the two-player profiles here. Young Connor Sanato. It's a single sheet of paper with a nice list, but Billy Jackson's list of achievements goes on for 2 full A4 sheets. He's been an England international since 1998.
Since 1998, Janice.
Yep.
Connor was born in 1996.
Exactly. Experience of Billy Jackson. And that too, well, I know we speak of commentator's curse, but our first final here at Blackpool Newton Hall of the Co-operative Funeralcare European Masters 2016. Well, if you're a betting man, you'd be looking at a tie break. And I'm not a betting man, but I'm looking at a tie break. Still possible. 8 shots. We're in end 7, 3 ends to play.
29 minutes.
The thing you would say is that both of these players have already experienced a tie break in the competition so far. So it's not something that's unusual to these players. Something that we're quite familiar with and know the pitfalls of it. We saw a very interesting attempt in tie break from John McCutcheon yesterday, Janice, in his game against Billy, where it went to the tie break and he drove with his first ball at the jack to try and get it in the ditch and lie down next to it. Very ambitious shot at this level.
Yeah, we had a similar thing with Brian Hawkins against Connor. It's interesting, but it does pay off sometimes. We saw it here last year, semi-final. Robert Chisholm versus Mark McPeak. Robert ditched the jack and didn't leave Mark with any room to draw whatsoever. Francis Fletcher was saying to me earlier in commentary that that's a very Southern Hemisphere trick shot that seems to have worked its way into the European bowlers' repertoire.
Connor just needs to view these last couple of ends as just an opportunity just to get his draw shot back, to get a little bit of focus and start to pull some shots together. This looks as if this set's just out his way, but he'll want to be back on form going into the tie break.
Well, the interesting thing, both of these players have got the runner, they've got the drive shot. You see a runner here from Billy. He doesn't want this head to build up. Yep. Even though he got his own bowl, he managed to move Connor's bowls out of the way. Connor's got 2 bowls now to Billy's 1, but plenty of room here for both players. Oh, just a bit of a disturbance there. The shot clock was stopped. It could be an interesting tie-break with both of these 2 players prepared to play any shot.
Obviously Billy last won the tour card winner in 2012. So he'll be after his 2nd tour card in those all-important ranking events.
Yes, he beat Neil Smith in that tour card final. Tell you what, if you were just to tune in now, and you didn't realise there'd been earlier bowls that were right next to that jack, you'd wonder what was happening. One green, Alan Thornhill's indicating plenty of room for Connor to draw, but one shotter yet.
Very important phrase there that saves us officials, Janice. Slightly favour one green. It's incredibly difficult within the time frame that we're operating within to give that certainty that they look for. So that slightly favour means you fancy it, you think it is, but you're not guaranteeing it for the player.
Again, in this situation, even if it's close, Connor's got to have it measured. Alan Thornhill just chucking the bowls that are involved in the measure. And Dan Blewett's been called on.
Of course, this is the older Dan of the tournament umpiring team. Remember at Perth that Dan Blewett was commenting that I was younger by just a few months from themselves. I think we worked it out that it was over 150 months, but less than 200.
I thought you were going to say over 150 years there.
Not quite.
One shot to Connor, probably not enough to... A 3 and a 4's not easy, last two ends. Yes, I know if Dan Blewett does listen to this back, we did have the smile earlier as to now having two Dans in the fold. Or is it going to be old Dan and young Dan, or were we going to use your surnames?
I'm sure in the humorous fashion amongst the team that will develop our own way of differentiating between them. And no doubt it'll be me that will get the short straw out of that.
As the newbie.
Indeed.
Well, 7 behind, 2 ends to play. Connor did win the first set, so he only has to tie it. So he only needs a 3 and a 4. Well, again, I think this is just a formality now, really. See Neil Mulholland's back in the auditorium now. He's there in the blue shirt. He was in commentary with me earlier today for his teammate Mark McPeak's semi-final. We saw certainly the shot of the championship so far against Gary Smith. Mark McPeak played a perfect bowl with his last bowl. I'm sure Neil's in there to support his mate in the second final, which will come up straight after the presentation here of the first tour card final. And that second tour card final is between Mark McPeak and Tony Webb. Yep, there's a picture of Neil Mulholland, Irish international. Yeah, he's not doing a Danny Barwise and having a pint in front of him. He's obviously taking the game seriously. An apology there from young Connor. I don't think it's...
Measure for shot.
Yeah, it's a measure for shot. Yeah, whatever happens this year, we have 2 different tour card winners to last year. 2 tour card winners last year, Robert Chisholm and Gary Smith. Disappeared at the semi-final stage of Tour Card 2 this morning. Tour Card 2 final, Mark McPeak, Tony Webb, that will be a good game as well. Both played very well in their semi-finals. Connor's had a chance for a 3 there. Well, it looks like we're going into a tie break in this first final. Exciting stuff for the onlookers. It'll be interesting to see who holds the nerve. And great ball to
One
finish
shot,
off.
second set, Billy Jackson, match tiebreak.
So Connor Sonato wins the first set 9-4.
First set tiebreak, Connor won the toss, has given the jack to Billy.
Billy Jackson won the second set 11-3. I just hesitated there because I just wanted to see who'd won the toss there. Connor won the toss and gave the jack to Billy. That could be a huge difference here, Dan, really, because Billy hasn't done his usual length of a short jack. But he's tend to play his better bowls in the opposite direction to the way we're playing now.
29.
Be a brave player now, Janice, having played 18 ends, to make that tactical decision to shorten the jack in a tie break. I don't think we'll see Connor do that, but I've been wrong before and I'll be wrong again.
Connor's very brave, but it was his choice here and he's given the jack to Billy. And of course in the tie breaks we are playing just who wins the end. It doesn't matter how many shots count. It's the first player to win 2 ends out of the 3. The rules change slightly if we go into the third end of the tie break. We'll come to that if we need to, but for now this is end 1 of the tie break of Tour Card 1. Huge here. Whoever wins this tie break gets one of those golden tickets into all the World Bowls Tour ranking events for next season. The first one starting on the 5th of November at Perth, which is the Scottish International Open. An easy one to remember for those of you that know the Guy Fawkes rhyme. Remember the 5th of November.
One way.
It's a long week that week, Janice. I'm sure by the time we get to the finals there'll be fireworks for someone at the end of that week.
Oh, very good. Like it. Well, Connor's holding shot at the moment here. There's a bit of room. He'll want to get a closer bowl in here. Oh, still room.
Your last ball, 18 inches, Jack.
This is a huge bowl here from Billy. Wants to do it with his third bowl. Doesn't want to leave it to his last. He knows if he can put this pressure on Connor at this end, you'll see the mettle of the young man. This looks close. Shot bowl. It's just moved a bit there, Dan. I thought that was going to actually nail right on the jack.
Yeah, it just seemed to continue just to take the tuck right at the end and hook itself right round there.
Oh, Connor's on a good line here. Oh, again, this looks good.
Is he running?
He's urging it on, urging it on. Just sat down, I think it's got shot. One red.
Jack is 5 inches. Yes, exactly, Jack.
Alan Thornhill telling Billy Jackson there the gap between the jack and the bowl is 5 inches. The average bowls are 5¼ inch in size, so it's not enough to get in there and lie down without making contact on the jack, but slight movement would be good for Billy.
Well, this has got to stop. Just overplayed it. First end to Connor.
First end, Connor Sonato.
Here we go, he'll answer our questions now, Janice. Is he going to try something different or stick to the 30-metre jack?
He's definitely moved the mat up slightly. I thought he might have even been braver than that and gone really short.
He's thinking about it. Means so much to these players to get the opportunity for a tour card. A lot of pressure on them.
Well, like I say, it would get him into the 2 events that he tried to qualify at but just failed at pool. It would also get in the world singles. Means he'd only have to look at the pairs qualifier. Oh, not a bad opener there. I was surprised really at the last bowl at the last end down that Billy just didn't come to have a look at the head. But he's full of confidence, so this is a good bowl here. He's definitely played in this direction better bowls.
A rear touch here, he's certainly playing away from our commentary position here. He's playing much better than he is coming towards us. Connor's on a track here though.
Great effort.
One green. This one. Exactly. Jack pie.
Well, Billy will be looking for a bit of cover here somewhere. Connor was so close there. We're actually looking, there's 3 touches already at this end. And Billy might just have dropped this short. Oh, that sets up for Connor, I think. Come have a look at it. Yeah, I thought he might.
Might just be in his road. Billy's last bull there might just be sitting on that line.
Yeah, but he's won the first end here. He could afford to play down this backhand. Try and get under Billy's bowl. Lift the green bowl out. That's what he's looking at. Can really pick his pace here, but he has to pick a pace that will come under that green bowl.
Of course, he's got 3 timeouts remaining. He's got plenty of time to make sure his shot selection is correct.
Oh, well, that's interesting. He's opting to play it down the forehand. I thought he might have just had a bit of a dabble there down the backhand. He's played the runner, but
Not going back.
it's an interesting choice of shot there. He looked at that backhand though, Dan. I don't. He must have decided. It's always down to what you feel confident in playing as well.
It's interesting because there hasn't been many backhand shots played by Connor, so it was interesting for him to pick that now.
Yeah, Billy just look for something on the outside here. He'll want this to run a touch. Do you know, I think he's framed it on that hand now. To me, Connor's got to play a runner here. And I think it looks down the backhand, but he's still setting for the forehand. He's watching this. That normally means he's close. Close to a nick on that green bowl. No, we go into a third end of a tie-break. Gives me the opportunity to throw a question to you then, Dan. There's a difference in the rules in the third end of the tie-break. Players can actually, it's the only time that they can kill the end.
Absolutely, they can kill the end once in the third end. They can nominate to kill the end as many times as they want, but they can actually only kill it once. Once they've done that, it then goes back onto respots. They can only kill it once. But they must inform us that they intend to kill the end. If they fail to inform us and the jack goes out with the confines of the rink, then it would be respotted. So they must inform the marker that they're intending and killing the end.
Well, a nice little gesture I just saw off Billy Jackson there. He turned round to Connor and just shook his hand. All this week's play for these 2 players come down to this end for who gets tour card 1. That golden ticket into all of the WBT ranking events. Now, who gets in first? Well, Billy, what a time to play a bowl like that. Almost a perfect opener. He's probably muttering to himself and saying, why didn't I do a few of those earlier? He'll no doubt tell us afterwards.
Immediate pressure on young Connor now to respond.
Well, he's down a good line. Don't think he's just quite got the pace.
Just diving a wee bit on that hand for him there, Janice.
Very small gap.
Now, Billy needs to think about this because he only needs to count the shot. He'll want a good seconding because he knows Connor's got a really big drive.
Connor's bowl 16 inches short of Jack by.
Kind of pointless covering the spot to some extent, as we just mentioned. Connor's got a big drive, so might go to kill the end. But it looks like Billy's going to cover the respot out here. Might be hoping that Connor's forgotten the respot and killing rules, which I know for a fact he won't have done. Still only one down, Connor.
He's on that track again, Janice. It'll just be interesting to see how his weight is. He cannot afford to be shot.
Well, again, Billy has got the decision to make. Yeah, probably choosing the right hand here. Take your time, Billy. I just think he needs a second bowl in. If Connor just flicks Billy's shot bowl out now.
He's had 2 attempts at it, Janice, Connor, and he's had the line on both occasions. Just lacking that little bit of weight. He can't afford to put that wee bit heavy into it because that bowl will shoot away to the left-hand side of our screen.
This is a perfect bowl off Billy Jackson. If that's got second bowl, he couldn't have put that back better. It's disappeared behind Connor's 2 bowls. Connor won't be able to see that from the mat. Now if he takes the bowl clean, Billy's got cover. There's often a bit of luck involved here, a bit of a lottery sometimes in the last end of a tie break as well.
Connor has 2 timeouts remaining.
Just taking his time out. He's got another 2 remaining. Take the time, get yourself composed.
I was just listening there. I thought he might have gone for the kill. So he was very close with his last bowl. For line, it was his length that was lacking.
He's running at it, but he hasn't declared that he wishes to kill.
Well, you see, I thought he might have declared kill there, but I didn't hear it. I certainly didn't hear it off Alan Thornhill. Right, not sure what Billy does here. Possibly has to go very deep. Connor nearly got an edge off his own short red bowl there. Billy might be looking at the angle off that if he did that again and got an edge off his short red bowl onto Billy's bowl. I think that Jack's more likely to ping out to
Billy has 4 timeouts.
Billy's already side bowl.
That's the one thing, if it does ping out to that side, then Billy's on the respot there, so it's crucial that Connor remembers to give himself the option of killing it. He can nominate it, and if it doesn't happen, there's no issue there, but if he doesn't nominate to kill, if I was Billy here, I would go in deep in case the Jack ran all the way to the ditch. Just give him that option just in case the Jack goes to the ditch.
Well, Connor's going to have to take a long look at this. I really do think he's got to nominate to kill this, you know.
You can see that shot clock in the top right hand corner. So I'm just taking a time out. He's got another one remaining after this. There's no issue with the players, Janice, in taking more than one time out consecutively. So he's got time here if he needs it to just see what he's going to do. Crucial shot.
This bowl. Does Billy Jackson take the tour card or does Connor Sinato? Well, he's watching it. He's played that timer again. I tell you what, he's close. He's very close. Well, what a position bowl by Billy Jackson. Billy Jackson takes the first tour card and takes his place in all the ranking events for next season. Young Connor done a fabulous job here. I mean, he was so close there. He'll be so disappointed, but he's done himself proud. He's played really well all weekend.
He has, Janice. He's really fought himself through the rounds from his victory 12-1-8-7 against Jarrod Green, and then going on to play Brian Hawkins. He won 2-0 in the tie-break and that. And Billy obviously having come through against Matt Wires, John McHutchison, and then another difficult game with a replay.
We've got some great replays here. Billy and Connor both had to come up with some big bowls at times. This looked all the time perfect to take all three bowls. Just nicks the middle bowl out the head. Again, another Connor shot. Gets the Billy Jackson bowl, but it doesn't go out the head. He had a few like that, Dan, that were very, very unlucky. Shot by Connor here. Just gets to Billy's bowl. Perfectly sits for shot. Billy's runner. Two edges, jack into the ditch. Virtually unbeatable. Yeah, been a great game of bowls, really. Connor shouldn't be displeased.
Oh, you can't be displeased in the game of bowls. You'll always lose more games than you'll win over the course of a season, but you should be impressed with his own performances because he's had some very tough games.
Right, well, thank you, Dan, for your company. We'll pass back over now to Richard Mannison.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the first of your finals, and great match. And in every good final, unfortunately, there has to be somebody who's the runner-up. So please give this gentleman, we term him as the Ginger Ninja. It's Connor Sonato, ladies and gentlemen, as the runner-up. Well, ladies and gentlemen, your tour card champion for tour card number 1, getting an entry into all of the WBT ranking events 2016-17 season. It's none other than the magician, Billy Jackson. Getting his trophy from John Davis, director of WBT. Just come and stand here, beside there, Billy. Well, I'm not going to keep you too long. Connor, you know, I've watched you for a long time, and I know you haven't quite made it this time, but I know you'll be back, as the famous man said. But can I say that you are a credit to the youth involved, seriously. Now, I know it must be difficult having not quite got here because of this one here, again, but no doubt you'll still be trying and coming back?
Yeah, I'll still be trying coming back, because now B just beat me here, I've got to try and qualify again, and do what people happy as well. But we'll make the miles and hopefully back here next year.
Yeah, and you get tremendous support from your family, don't you?
My family are amazing, they always support me throughout, basically. Didn't have them, I wouldn't be bowling, but that
Well, well said. And, well, Mr. Magician, Billy Jackson. Again, we're going to see you in the top 16, hopefully.
Fingers crossed, mate. I mean, I said at the start of the week again, you know, diamond's looming. Still
Well, I think it was at the qualifiers about a year ago when you said to me, you know, I think I've had enough and I'm thinking of pulling out. Do you want to repeat those words, or are you going to continue?
no. Same as Connor. Family are brilliant, and like I said, without them, we couldn't.
Well, Well, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for two superb players. And we'll proceed with the afternoon. The players will be playing the trial ends, and your next final will be on very shortly. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Might as well.
Masters at Blackpool Newton Hall. And without further ado, let's bring your players on. Well, this gentleman is a former British Isles champion. He's an Irish international, ranked at number 2 on the PBA ranking list. It's Ireland's Mark McPeak. And up against Mark, ladies and gentlemen, he was a runner-up in the World Indoor Pairs. He reached the last 8 in the 2015 World Indoor Singles. From England, let's welcome Tony Webb.
Well, thanks, Richard. Well, here we go, folks, for the final time in this weekend and the final time in the WBT 2015 season in 2016. A final. This final for the second tour card,
Jack length 30 metres.
which will get the player who wins it into all 3 of the World Bowls Tour ranking events for 2016-17 season. Interesting game here. Both of these players in the semi-finals took out the 2 favourites, or 2 of the favourites. The 2 players certainly who won the 2 tour cards last year. So whatever happens, we'll have a new winner here today. Tony Webb from the River Rain Club. Mark McPeak from Belfast Indoor Bowls Club. Tony Webb won his right to play here at Bromley in one of the European Masters events there. Mark McPeak, PBA second ranked highest player. Interestingly enough, we've just seen the PBA highest ranked player, Billy Jackson, win tour card 1. Lots of interesting eventualities here.
One round.
Mark McPeak immediately opting, playing in this direction, to go back onto his forehand. His game against Gary Smith. Struggled a bit on his backhand in this direction. But we were talking after the game and perhaps felt that he played that to take Gary's shot away from him to some extent. Gary's such a strong player and certainly favourite to win that second tour card. But Mark McPeak was having none of that. He beat Gary Smith 7-5 in the first set. And all the way it was looking like a tie-break. Mark McPeak was 10-6 down, playing the last end. Gary Smith with one bowl very, very close to the jack. With Mark's last bowl, he played a perfect timer shot, took Gary's bowl out, touched the jack, got the 4, got the tie, and got his place here in the tour card final. Meanwhile, Tony Webb had to go all the way to the third end of the tie-break against Robert Chisholm.
Just over 2.5 feet.
Played exceptionally well in his first game here. Struggled a little bit against Rob. It was a bit of a scrappy game. I'm sure he won't mind me saying. We spoke at lunch. He had to change his bowls. He played with red in his first game and he changed to his green. He was just mastering where the lines were. Well, he's obviously found the lines.
One green.
So I think we're in for a very interesting game here, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us here on the World Bowls Tour YouTube stream at the Co-operative Funeralcare European Masters Finals 2016, kindly hosted by Blackpool Newton Hall.
Where's your shot? Shot, Mark McPeak.
Good shot there from Mark. First blood to Mark McPeak. 2 sets of 9 ends and a 3-end tie-break if necessary.
Jack Link 28 meters.
Well, this was the direction that Tony Webb struggled in his semi-final. This is a slightly different length. Mark McPeak is one of the real exponents and professionals of the game. He takes his health and fitness very seriously, and he also takes the mental concentration side of the game very seriously. Ultimate professional, so to speak. He's put a lot of practice time in here over the weekend. If he's not been able to get onto the television rink, he's been practicing out on rink 6 and 7. At Blackpool we have 7 rinks here. 3 rinker and 2 2-rinkers.
Shortest is just about 2 feet. About inch difference.
And we set up rink 6 and 7 for the players to be able to use as practice, to just be able to send bowls if and when they want. And Mark's certainly been making the most of that. Well, again, it's interesting. In this direction, Tony Webb struggled in the semi-final. He's struggling here. Delighted to be joined in the commentary box by one of our regular match officials here at the WBT, doing some work here at this year's Masters events, Tom Weir. Welcome to commentary, Tom.
Good afternoon, Janice. Good afternoon, viewers.
Often the stadium's a little bit flat after the first final. You tend to find people just go out to get themselves a cup of coffee or something to eat. So these 2 players
Green.
need to keep the concentration going. Better bowl from Tony Webb there.
Yeah, as you say, that last match, what a fantastic match it was. Connor just passed Connor there. A bit disappointed, but there's plenty of time for the young guy to come back strong and qualifying future years.
I just spoke to Billy Jackson just after the presentation, and he said that was hard work. He said, I always expected it to be hard work because that's the level of player Connor is. He's got a very smart head on young shoulders at the moment. Sometimes these youngsters drift into, that's the best wording to probably put it, is being a little bit full of themselves, but Connor hasn't got that yet. He's hopefully will avoid that because his parents are very supportive and watch out for him in that respect. I certainly can see a huge future for Connor.
Yeah, the first I came across Connor this season was at the World Championships at Potters when he played Andy Thompson in the first round. I had the pleasure of being on the shot clock for that match. I remember it well. And when I did see young Connor, I said, this guy's one for the future. He'll be about in years to come.
Yeah, the umpire just being called on to decide which of these bowls is the closer. Francis Fletcher is our umpire out there for this final. Dan Blue at marker. And I believe Dan McManus, who was just in commentary with me, is on shot clock. It's interesting to go from talking about young Connor and his future and the fact that Billy Jackson has given himself a chance again. He was just outside the top 16. Good chance next season of tying together a few points and getting himself back into the top 16. But these two guys would be a first for them.
Yeah, Billy been on the scene for quite a number of years, drifted away, and now make a comeback, try to get back into top 16 and qualify for all the WBT events for next season.
The thing was, when Billy dropped out of the top 16, I think he was a bit, as you would expect, disappointed and sort of lost his confidence and really the urge to win, but then came back really full on 2 seasons ago. Knows he can get back into that top 16. So all the experience, I think he's saying he played international bowls since 1998 and Connor was only born in 1996. I think Dan McManus and I were looking at his profile. These two players both experienced WBT events. Tom, Mark McPeak qualified for the Scottish International Open a couple of years back, so he has played there. I think he got through the first round, got to round 2, and Tony Webb got to the quarter-finals of the World Singles back in 2015.
Yeah, I know Mark from on the outdoor scene playing for international for Ireland. Tony, I'd never heard of Tony, to be honest with you, but he's achieved, as you say, getting to the quarter-final of World Championships. Remarkable achievement, and no doubt he'll be want to try and get back in again and get back up there and hopefully do a bit better than he did in 2015.
Yeah, we were talking at lunch. I was sat with Tony, and I've known Tony for a number of years. He's always on the outskirts of different competitions. He's been runner-up a couple of times. I think I mentioned earlier I was on the rink next to him in the national pairs finals last year when my partner and I, Sue Kearsley, won the ladies pairs. Tony Webb and his partner just lost the men's pairs. So we've met at Champion of Champions events and all sorts. But outside at lunch he was saying he'd really enjoyed the Potters experience, and he says it's hard work to tell people how different the portable rink is, but once you've been there, how much you want to get back. And he said he sees this as a huge opportunity of getting a chance to play in all 3 events.
Absolutely. From my perspective, being in the World Bowls Tour officials team, Potters this year was the first time I'd ever been to Potters. It's a fantastic setup. What an experience. And I always wanted to say if I didn't make it as a player, make it in another avenue, and getting out the World Bowls Tour officials team was a dream come true for me. But Potters was just something different. You just want more and more and more.
Well, Mark's playing a running ball here. He's just been unlucky there, really. We're just a bowl tight, so got his own bowl. Yes, all three of the current venues, Perth Indoor Bowls Club, which hosts the Scottish International Open, Potters, which hosts the World Championship, and Blackpool Newton Hall here, which hosts the International Open. They're all three totally different venues, really, Tom. They're totally different when you get to them, different atmospheres. This is very intimate. People are very close to you when you're playing. Potters is a huge auditorium and you're playing to thousands of people.
Yeah, we get pretty much looked after, all the officials and backroom staff here in the team at each venue we go to. Blackpool here, it's fantastic. They look after us very, very well during the past 3 days that we've been here. As you say, Janice, yeah, they're right on top of you at this venue. Potters is 1,200 people in the arena for every match. It's the atmosphere is electric and the players absolutely love it. It's
Well, Mark's got a big decision to make here. He's 3 down. I think Tony was looking to put a blocker in there. Didn't quite just get it back to centre. But it certainly makes the angle different for Mark. Still playing the runner. Well, looks in the area. Very close here.
oh, that's a good ball. Oh, has he got a shot?
I think he's got the ultimate result there. Looks like it's one red.
One shot, Mark McPeak.
Yeah, that's a massive saver shot there for Mark. 3 down, playing his last ball.
Yeah, ties
Captures
it
the
up
shot.
2-all. Very good.
The score is 2-2.
See that on the
after 3
replay?
innings.
It's the result perfectly off the short green bowl, onto shot bowl and rests in. I was saying to the viewers in the last game, Tom, that our next event after today, WBT has summer off events, although the work behind the scenes doesn't stop. And our next event starts on, remember, the 5th of November at Perth.
Yeah, up in Perth in Scotland, up in my home country. Looking forward to that one.
And of course, whoever wins here will be there as part of the players, the 32 players who'll arrive in Perth to play the Scottish International Open. So Mark's played up there back in 2013. Memory serves me right, he got the co-operative Funeralcare wild card to get in there. He's got over 50 caps playing for Ireland. Always leads, pure lead really. Plays singles as well, but at international level he's a lead. There's Tony Webb. Again, plays a lot of singles games, but if he's playing in a team event, he's tend to find his skips. Another player that likes to keep his fitness levels up, does a lot of travelling, walking and climbing.
One green.
Yeah, it's a shot very well played by
Gap
Tony there.
is 7 inches. Yours is 8 inches. 8 inches for yours, 7 inches. down.
Yeah, Dan Blewett trying to give quick information to the players there as the shot clock counts down. Don't really want to take the players' time up by giving them information too slowly. Got to be very quick off the mark with distances for the players. And Tony Webb just looking to draw to this back bowl.
One green.
I've not got an indication of who's shot there. I think from Dan's measurements, we think it's one green, but I think it's quite close between those two balls. You can't quite tell from this camera angle.
One shot, anywhere.
Yeah, one shot to Tony. It's into 3-2 lead. After 4 ends, not much given away earlier on this match.
No, I always felt that this was going to be a tight match on paper. Because a lot of people don't know Tony, but I certainly do. He's a very, very consistent player in singles. And I thought he might just go in under the radar with all the people that seem to be thinking that Gary Smith and Robert Chisholm were going to be the two big players in this bottom half. I always had this sneaky that Tony Webb might just slip under that radar.
Yeah, a few big name players have fallen in the last few days. You say Robert Chisholm, Gary Smith, who were probably expected, but it was a very, very strong field. Very strong, very difficult to pick out who would get through to the finals this afternoon.
I think it's probably been the strongest field I've seen at the tour card finals. Of course, prior to Blackpool,
18
we
inches.
went to Stanley Indoor Bowls Club for the finals. Over the years it's been running. It's always nice to see different people qualify as well.
Yeah, lets anyone that plays in the PBA competitions, gives them the opportunity to qualify for these events. When you see some new faces coming through, it's good for the sport.
And the qualifiers are always very strong from the UK qualifiers anyway. But with the tour card, it's not just the one you're qualifying in. You get into all three. And as Mark Dawes, the Blackpool player, proved, get a tour card, string a few wins together when you get to a venue, get a reasonable draw. It's always tough if you go to one of the WBT events and get one of the top 4 ranked players. But that goes, all the top 16 are exceptionally strong. But as are the UK qualifiers. I think I mentioned in early commentary when anybody asks us about PBA and becoming a member of the PBA, and that it's not easy to get into the top 16. There's one player I like to quote on that got to PBA qualifiers, lost in final. Can't remember how many finals he lost in. Eventually won a couple, got to the events, managed to scrape through a few rounds, tied ranking points together. And he's currently ranked 1 in the world. Nicky Brett, he's the perfect example of the PBA system working.
And Mark struggling to find his way at 3 short balls this end. Put himself in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, he could be looking at 4 down in a moment. Tony looks on a good track again. Like I say, he just struggled a little bit this morning with these green bowls. Thinks they run a slightly different line to his red ones, which he's very comfortable with. But he's a class player, is Tony Webb.
Not much options on here for Mark with his short bowls covering the 4 green that are sitting there quite comfortable.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look at the angles. He's going to have to play the perfect bowl here, really. I know he likes to draw himself out of trouble. There is a draw down the backhand, but that's not easy. And with his 3 short red bowls, there's not really a runner obviously set up. Mark McPeak hasn't got a huge drive. He's got a very, very consistent runner. But in these occasions, sometimes you think it might be a hit and hope job.
Yeah, he's trying to draw it in the forehand, I think.
Might even just get second bowl. He put 3 short bowls in. He might do what I think he's doing here and just overplay it.
Yeah, run too far. Losing 4.
4 shots. Tony went.
Mark McPeak played one of the best shots, certainly shot of the tournament so far in his semi-final game. One of the best shots I've seen in World Bowls Tour events this year. He's just dropped a very unusual for him 4. Well, now, this is the direction that Tony Webb struggled in his semi-final. So this could be Mark McPeak's opportunity.
Yeah, playing 31.5 metres.
Full length jack this time, 31.5 metre jack.
They're choosing to lead off the backhand again. It was the forehand earlier he'd struggled with coming this way. Tommy was in all sorts of problems with it. That's better. He always smiles at me, does Tony, before we come into commentary and says, "Be kind to me." I caught him this time before we came in for the final. I said, "Do I have to be kind to you again, Tony?" He said, "Yes, please."
6 inches jack high.
Looks under the line here. Tony plays with Drake's Pride Professionals. Mark McPeak is playing with his Taylor Ace. So similar bias bowls. We saw in the last game, Billy, the Magician Jackson plays with Tigers, and they come back at all sorts of angles.
Yeah, Mark's got a better line this time.
First shot, slight over the red.
How short's my last bowl now, please?
The marker down
18
below
inches.
it favours the red ball. That's pretty close.
You know, the red touched the jack and then just sort of moved off to the side. Tony will come and have a look at this himself. As we mentioned in the game before, it's a bit hard for the markers sometimes when you're thinking about the player's shot clock and it is close. You've really only got so many seconds you can have a quick look at it before you feel like you're interfering.
Yeah, but as you say, Janice, as the shot clock's going down, we need to try and get in there and get our answers and try and project ourselves the questions that are going to come and think ahead of ourselves and give an answer as quick as we can to not disturb them because the shot clock's running.
Yeah, I think it's good we've brought the shot clock here to the European Masters finals, Tom, because it's the one element of the World Bowls Tour ranking event rules we didn't run here last year, and it's good for them to acclimatise themselves before they go to ranking events, just to be aware of that shot clock.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a different outlook. It's a different way you look at the game with the shot clock in place. I know the top 16 players they're used to it now. They know how to work it. the guys that have never used the shot clock, it's a good experience, and as you say, to get it here today for the tour card finals, it's a great opportunity for them, knowing the next step that they're going to be working in the shot clock. I'm really very favourable with shot clock. It's
One green.
some of the officials in the team. I'm the shot clock expert because I love working the shot clock. It's one of my favourite jobs in the WBT events.
Yes, I think most of them say you're very unusual in that, Tom, for liking the shot clock. But yeah, it has brought a different element to the game. And certainly we now play full TV rules here at European Masters Finals. Well, Mark's looking to just get onto his own red ball, which would ping the green ball out the head.
One shot, Tony Webb.
Yeah, just missed that. He really wanted the red ball in the centre of your screen. Didn't get that or the Jackie.
But there is 2-8 after 6 down.
Just a little bit off target. Well, 8-2. 6 shots with 3 ends to play.
Yeah, it's drifting away from Mark at the moment. Needs to try and pick up again. Score one couple of shots in the next end, the 7th end. I'll say it's a crucial end in the set.
Jack, 30 and a half metres.
Nice to see a few people have come in to watch. It's quite sunny out in Blackpool. I believe it's nice and sunny out in Berwick upon Tweed, where our other match official really serving her last day as part of the tour, because it's the last official day of the World Bowls Tour 2015-16 year. Sandra McLeish is nicely sat there listening to us, probably having a glass of wine and taking in the scenery. And
Yeah, I first known Sandra back many years ago, in the late 90s. I had the pleasure of working with Sandra at WBT events, late 90s, early 2000s. Fantastic time working with Sandra. I'm sure she'll be watching in and watching the officials, and hopefully she'll enjoy her retirement, and no doubt we'll probably see her visiting us at some of the events around the country.
yes, I hope she'll turn up at some point. I did say to her earlier, if she was listening in, don't forget the commentary box has always got a tub of sweets. You're more than welcome.
That's what I look forward to when I come to the World Bowls Tour events, Janice, is the box of sweets in the commentary box.
We hide it away from all but the streaming crew and the WBT officials. Well, again, Mark McPeak just struggling to find his pace. It's really been the same for both players here. They both played this morning. Both had a bit of time to wait before they play the final. They both stayed with the same colour bowls that they played with this morning. That can often be the tough situation if they have to swap colour of bowl. And they've only got the half-hour lunch break before the first final starts to actually have a run out with a different colour. At least with these two players, they both stayed the same colour. Good ball from Tony Webb there.
Yeah, good ball from Tony. Tony's in command of this set at the moment.
I really do feel in the second set Mark McPeak's possibly going to have to change it a little bit. Perhaps change the length.
Yeah, Tony's in the last few ends sticking by the 30.5, 31 metre jack. Mark's played a bit better this one.
No, that's a good ball.
Yeah.
One red.
That's more like how Mark McPeak's been playing this weekend.
Yeah, that's a fantastic ball with Mark there, holding one.
And Tony Webb just looking to get past all the short bowls, get to the red bowl of Mark's, just sit off it. It looks in the area for it. Very close here, Tony.
Oh,
What
excellent.
a great bowl that was.
Yeah, that was excellent ball.
At this stage of the set, that was a really good bowl. It's given him 2 shots. Mark's got to try and change this now. Can't afford to drop another 2.
Yeah, he's got a shot on here. Trail the jack, a couple of feet, pick up a 2. Oh, he's chasing it a bit more.
He's gone with a bit more weight. Now this sometimes will hang off for you, that sort of weight. That's 2 shots. 10-2.
2 shots, Tony Webb.
It's 8-shot lead, I think.
10 after 7
Mark McPeak was just having a look at the scoreboard there. 8 shots, 2 ends. It's possible.
Yeah, needs 2 4s next 2 ends to tie the set.
Jack line 31.5 metres.
Still opting for that full length jack here. 31.5 metres. Yeah, not a bad opening bowl when you have to stop 2 counts of 4. Well, Mark couldn't afford to be short there. He needs to count a 4. A short bowl would not give him any help at all. And Tony Webb certainly found his form of yesterday. Mark might just be trying to get his drawing pace back here for second set time.
Yeah, probably knows within himself this set's gone. Let's start focusing now on the next set, try and bring yourself back to win the set and take it to a tie-break.
Well, we certainly saw that in the first tour card final here. Connor Donato won the first set against Billy Jackson 9-4. Billy then came back in the second set, played exceptionally well to win it 11-3. And then go on to win the tie-break 2-1. We saw that yesterday as well. If we did go to a tie-break, it was the person that won the second set that won the tie-break. Certainly in tour card 1, that was the situation. Today it's been a mixture. Tony Webb, his game against Robert Chisholm, he won the first set, lost the second, but then won the tie-break. Well, again, I think Mark's just trying to play the draw here. No shot on.
Shot Mark McPeak, first set, Tony Webb.
Yep, so Tony Webb takes the first set in the second tour card final, 10-3. Mark McPeak's got to change something, Tom, really.
Yeah, I think he needs to change the length of the jack. He needs to try and shorten the jack because Tony had been playing very well at a 30 metre jack. So it'll be interesting to see the jack length in this first end of the second set.
interestingly enough, he's gone a bit shorter. He brought the mat up, I think, about a dot there, but not a lot shorter.
Jack, 28 metres.
Yeah, it's a 28-metre jack. It's 2 metres shorter than what I've been playing to, so probably thought he would have played a bit less than that.
I
But
thought he might have gone a bit more drastic than that and gone very short, just to try it. He's a lead, so he's known for being able to put the jack where he wants it. Tony's still sticking to this side of the rink. Played it a lot better in this game. Now he's opted for this side. He's been playing the side of where the spectators are there. Yes, it seems a little bit sad that this is the last of our events this season.
yeah, it's now to the outdoor season. It's,
Gap is about 14 inches.
as far as I'm led to believe, I haven't been outside much today, but it's a really lovely day, especially up in Scotland. I phoned home earlier, and the weather back up in Scotland's fantastic, so I'm looking forward to getting home tonight and getting back in to get involved in outdoor for the next 2 or 3 months.
One green.
And of course, the next thing for World Bowls Tour and the PBA is qualifiers in September and October, and then our first TV event, Scottish International Open at Perth. Summer holds a lot of bowls in store for a lot of people.
Yeah, just the one.
Oh, Mark, a little touch on the jack. We'll trail it for 3. Needs to reach for that. Urging it on.
Tony running back up there to try and beat the clock, not to use one of his timeouts. They do have 5 timeouts each during the 2 sets, and if it goes to tie break, they get an extra timeout added to their total that they've got left after the 2 sets.
One shot, only well.
Oh, Tony takes the first shot at the second set. He won the first set 10-3. I would imagine Tony will be going back to his full length jack here, yeah.
Jack 31 and a half metres.
Yeah, sticking to this backhand, playing back down. He has played it very well today. Slight swap for your viewers in the commentary team. Tom Weir's gone out to do one of his official jobs. I'm joined by Mark McPeak's fellow countryman Neil Mulholland. Thanks for joining me again, Neil.
Not a problem, Janice. I was sitting in the arena there and Mark's struggling, so I thought I would come out, see if I'd help him.
You won when you were in here this morning, so that might be the key. I've been surprised, Neil, that Mark didn't change the length quite drastically when he got the jack back.
Yes, Tony's playing very well at the long length. Mark seems to be scratching about for his weight, dropping a lot of balls short.
I know he did sort of change it to 28 metres, but I actually thought he might have gone sort of even more drastic, really, and hoped to find his pace.
Tony's playing well, very consistent with his pace, putting Mark under pressure.
It's just snuck in, I think.
2.5 feet.
So Mark did qualify for the Scottish International Open back in 2013. He got through the first round. And of course Tony Webb got to the quarterfinals of the World Championships back in 2015. So they both experienced the WBT events.
Green.
Perhaps there's a little bit of pressure on out there to get this tour card.
14 inches from jack high.
Yeah, they've both been there before, so they both know what to expect.
Mark's on a very good track with this. All on the pace, I think.
Yeah, I think he's true shot.
1 red.
Tony Webb on the first set, 10-3, so Mark McPeak's got to win this set to take us into another nail-biting tie-break in the second final here at Blackpool Newton Hall. The first final went all the way to the last end of the tie-break, and Billy the Magician Jackson picked up tour card 1. Each one of these players can get tour card 2.
And Tony's just missed his line here. Chance for Mark to score a double.
Yes, unusual form. You'd expect Mark McPeak to draw another shot, and it's only a repeat of his last delivery. Little touch on the jacks, fine as well. Not sure whether he likes that from the facial expression. Needs to run to pass his own short bowl. Little glide off it.
Slightly fortunate, but
Half feet.
he'll take it.
You know what I'm going to say, Neil? Perhaps you have changed his look coming into commentary box.
Hope so, for Mark's sake. No disrespect to Tony.
No, I think all the viewers out there and certainly sat in the crowd would like to see a tie break. Tony Webb and his supporters definitely don't want to see a tie break. Now, Mark, what's going to be your choice of length?
Jack length 28 meters.
He's gone to the 28 metre again. Neil, I still thought shorter.
Yeah, I thought he might have went down to about 24, just over the minimum. Try and change things up a wee bit.
I always say it's easier when we're sat here watching, but he's experienced enough to change things. It's not a bad opener. The jack's in a different place on the rink to where they've been playing because he's kept the mat back, but still So I thought Mark might have tested Tony Webb on the shorter length.
Good reply from Tony. Mark could do with winning a few ends in the trot. Try and build up a gap between himself and Tony.
Close here. Just underplayed it again for weight.
On green.
Gives Tony Webb the chance to change his hand here and just tuck the jack away. That just hung off there, Neil. I thought that might have made it all the way back.
Yeah, Mark should be guaranteeing his pace here. Chance to turn the ball out. Needs to get back quick. He's unlucky.
Really unlucky. Jack solid was perfect.
On green.
Nudged it nearer Tony Webb's bowl. Here we see that again in action replay. Just nicks the jack.
I think it's a similar sort of shot for Mark. Narrow his line up a wee bit. Still a chance to roll the ball out.
Well, looks down a good line.
He's just went through the gap. Tony free draw, try and make a pair.
Looks at least in this second set, making sure he's reaching, trying to change things. Looks something up with this one as well.
Careful draw, he's just too careful.
On shot, Tony Webb. Set score is 2-2 after 3 ends.
Well, if Mark gets this jack back, I really do think he needs to shake Tony off this 28 to 31 metre jack.
Yeah, I think Mark, if he can get hold of the jack this end, maybe pull the mat out, play something completely different, try and take different lines.
Jack out 31.5 metres.
Tony's certainly been consistent with this 31.5 metre jack. And since his decision to swap to the backhand side, playing away from the commentary box here, he seemed to have found his pace better than he did in his semi-final game. Don't forget, if you can't stay with us, the end of this game, the result will be on worldbowlstour.tv. But if you can stay with us, that's brilliant. Thanks for your company. We've seen some great bowls over this weekend. It's been a very good weekend to be here at Blackpool. And Tony adjusted slightly under. Will force Mark to change his hand though.
When we were practicing On the first day, Mark preferred to stay on the side he's on now, and during the games he's actually switched and played the hand with slightly stronger bias.
Yes, I spoke to him about that, Neil, after his semi-final game this morning.
Still favour one green at the moment.
I had wondered if he'd swap to the other side of the rink to try and close Gary Smith's line down. But he just said he felt that the bowls were doing better on that hand. Obviously decided to go back to the side he'd preferred on the first game.
Yes, your bowl is 10 inches short of jack eye.
Swan down at the moment. Slight adjustment, just a bowl higher would help.
I think he's just under again, depends on the result.
One red.
No chance for Tony here, he possibly play on the other side, turn the jack to his own two bowls.
Well, he stayed off the backhand, but I suppose a similar sort of shot is on that hand as well, just to get back to the jack and trail it for two. There's a bigger target off the forehand. We've seen it all weekend, really, Neil. Some players have got confidence in a certain shot and a certain hand. We might sit here and think they should be playing a different shot, and it's easier when you sat here. Never play a bad bowl, always play the right shot.
Yeah, it comes down to personal preference at the end of the day. Some players prefer to run off their backhand. He's just missed his line again here. It was good.
One shot, Mark McPeak.
Well, it's all still very close. That'll be something that Tony Webb will be happy with. Now, Mark, what are you going to do with that mat and jack? No, mat back again.
I thought he might have took the opportunity there and pulled the mat up.
Well, he's gone for plan B, mat back and short.
Jack line 25 metres.
Well, that's what we thought lengthwise, Neil. Worth giving it a shot at this stage. Take his time, concentrate on this bowl, Mark. Need to get this one as close as you can. Well, it's looking a great line. One just a touch further. Well, now that's more like the Mark McPeak we know.
Yeah, great start from Mark. I think this is the way that Zaxby's been struggling for his pace. He's dropped a few counts going this way against Gary and against Tony.
Well, repeat delivery. And that was actually a good reply from Tony. But, Mark needs to just pile on the pressure a bit here.
That's a good spot from Mark. Receiving position.
Slight adjustment for length. Looks under again.
One red.
Good line here.
Yeah, he's
Very
close.
close. Yeah, very close.
And that's a great ball from Mark.
2 red.
Runner from Tony.
Ooh.
Oh, way off target.
Just send it out. You send it out and the screen sits off.
Shot clock won't start again until the marker down blue. It's remove that ball out of the ditch and get it safely on the sides. Mark's going for cover here.
Yeah, Tony, if he burns this, I don't think the run on shots is on now. I think he'll just go back to the dead draw.
Urging it on, looks short to me. That certainly helps the Mark McPeak cause. 2 shots.
Yeah, gives Mark a wee bit of breathing space. 5-2 up now. Needs to just push on and score a few more ends. Try and get this set. Take it into the tie break.
Could be a question of hold that flight.
It could be. We're trying to make the 5:45 train from Blackpool to Bolton, and then Bolton to the airport. So, but I'm sure if Mark wins it, he'll not mind.
Definitely 25 and a half metres.
Stuck to the shorter length, Jack, quite rightly so.
Yeah, 2 cracking balls in the last end. Important to get the first one on it again here. Keep the pressure on Tony.
Line looks interesting, but I don't think he's perhaps given it enough of a push.
I'll see the wee shake of the head. He knew.
It's very hard when you do play bowls in the UK. When you play out of Ireland, you've got to consider flights and time off work.
Yeah, sometimes the flights work out quite cheap for us. It's as good as what it would cost people travelling long distances. The likes of Michael there from Scotland, over a 6-hour drive back home.
One red.
Yes, I often used to say that to people when I used to come over to Belfast for the PBA qualifiers. By the time I'd driven down to somewhere like Poole, which is a good 7-hour drive for me, and paid accommodation and petrol costs, cheap flights across to Ireland, and once you're there, you're there.
Mark needs to add here.
It swings now. Just over, not a bad spot.
Just over the pace. Tony has a chance to make an adjustment.
Looks better here.
Yeah, he's close. Uses his own ball and drop in.
One green.
Good ball there from Tony.
Sorry. The gap is 6 inches, 8 inches past jack eye. Yours, the gap is 7 inches, 10 inches short of jack eye.
I think Mark will just try and draw this.
Well, he's just seen Tony pick that drawing line. Just get past his own bowl. It will come back to the centre.
No, he's just outside it. think Tony will just try and add carefully back to the full head, I will imagine.
Yes, I think we'll go back to 31.5 metre jack. This is a great bowl. If it just slips past Mark's bowl.
Yeah, 2 good bowls from Tony.
Two shots, Tony Webb.
Certainly puts Tony Webb back into this set. Not that he was out of it anyway, but
5-4 after 6 ends.
5-4 after 6 ends. Mark didn't just quite make the most of playing the shorter length jack. I would be really surprised if this didn't go 31.5 metres.
Jack went 31.5 meters.
What a surprise. Tony's been playing this length exceptionally well. If it's not broke, don't fix it. I said earlier he really enjoyed his time at Potters in 2015 and he was desperate to get back to the WBT events, so knew that this was a huge, huge chance for him.
It's a great start from Tony.
A lot of people hadn't heard of Tony when he came here. He was one of the players that I said could quite easily slip under the web of all these top players' names that were about.
One green.
I've known Tony for years, very, very consistent, very, very competitive.
Yeah, when the draw came out, you were having a look and you're talking names: Gary Smith, Robert Chisholm, Billy Jackson, people who have been there, probably pre-tournament favourites. And Billy Jackson, great game against Connor earlier on.
Two green.
Tony Webb's certainly playing superb bowls here now. Little smile to his family that are out there supporting.
He's just controlling this length better.
And Mark just trying to play a bowl to change the end there. It's nearly successful, just a bowl under. It's a good receiving bowl though now, it gives him a chance. Oh, Tony Webb just playing superb bowls at the moment.
Three green.
Mark will have to attack this, I think.
Can't afford not to really. Can't afford to drop a 3. Still time in the set, but ends are counting down. Changes it with this bowl, gives himself a chance. He's in the area, Neil.
Nice chance of 3 balls.
Got 2 away.
A good result from Mark. He was on, hit the target.
You see it again in replay. All 3 would have gone. The
One
first
green.
one just spins on the spot. 2 away. Well, I think Tony's in a danger towards the back of the rink.
Yeah, Mark probably drawing the forehand here. Wee bonus if he can just tickle the white.
Looks under the line. His weight was very good as well for reaching the jack.
One shot, Tony Webb.
Right, it's 7 ends. That's
Score is
5 all.
5-5 after 7 ends.
2 ends to play. Still possible for Mark, but I feel he's got to really win both ends now to take us into a tie break.
Yeah, that's what he'd be thinking to himself. Win the 2 ends. Start again in the tie break.
Let me guess, 31 and a half
Jack
metres.
31 and a half metres.
He's consistent.
Yeah, he's been playing this very well. Like I say, plays a lot of singles bowls, so used to delivering a jack. Interestingly enough, opted back to the swingy side. This is the side that he was short on a lot, playing against Rob Chisholm earlier. That's better. Closer here.
Yeah, good start from Mark.
15 inches from Jack.
Thought he might have come back off that a bit more.
Talking before about the temperatures changing and the pace just changing slightly. It's quite warm outside today at the moment, so that'll have some effect on the rink.
Yeah, weather's beautiful outside, nice and sunny.
Very close, favour the green.
I should bring a picture of sun inside the commentary box. Our position here at Blackpool is in a box that's soundproofed at the back of the rink. We can't see the rink at all. We just see what you viewers are seeing.
Mark's just tipped his own in for shot.
Tony's following this up. Looks on a great line. The weight's just going to take him over. I thought he was better than that actually. It would have hung to the jack. Oh, Mark, try and slot this in for a second shot.
He's just overplayed it.
Well, I suppose there's a chance for Tony here with a reaching bowl as well. Get the bowl out. He's got a second shot.
I'm at ball.
You can get a nudge on the jack.
4 time out. Right.
Not that Peake's holding one at the moment, but there's possibilities for Tony to get a 2 here.
Yeah, Tony's just took a time out, give himself a bit of time to think about his shot.
Played a reaching draw. Don't think that will come back, Neil, from there.
It's trying its best.
Just didn't make it back. Got to almost be perfectly dead weight down that forehand for
One red.
it to make it all the way back to the jack.
Yeah, Mark. Need a careful draw here. He doesn't want to.
Yeah,
I'm at
he's
ball.
done it for you, Mark.
Mark, 2 time out.
Quite an important bowl here. Neil, he really does want to go into this last end 2 shots up.
He's not up. 1 up, last end. As we said
Shot,
before, if
Mark McPeak.
he'll be concentrating on winning both ends just.
Well, it's a bit like a tie-break end in itself, this next
That's for a
end.
6-5 after 8-10.
If Tony Webb wins this end, he wins tour card 2. If Mark McPeak wins this end, we go into a tie-break. Such a big opportunity for the players here, win the tour card, all 3 of the WBT ranking events, and any more that come on the calendar the World Bowls Tour directors can organise. Entitle you to every single World Bowls
Yeah,
Tour
about
ranking
25
event
wins.
in the following season's calendar. Well, needs to get this as close as he can. His body language says it's running.
It's just about a yard through. You would like to have started with one pretty close.
Decent reply, but there's still a bit of room there for Mark.
Looks very tight. Mark will not be happy.
Oh, no, body language showed that he really wasn't happy. Tony looks better here. It's still pulled up.
2 green. This one, 15 inches from jack high.
Yeah, the hand will still allow Mark to come round that.
Yeah, the problem is, Neil, if he was to try and change hand now, he's put his own bolt on the drawing line down there. This has got to be perfect weight. Great line. It sits down.
1 green.
And still 1 green. Just ran. That's the only problem when you're trying to reach past a bowl. You just often add that extra pound of weight. Tony Webb holds a tied set, which is enough for him to take Tour Card 2 title. Mark McPeak has 1 bowl to come. Has got to be holding shot after he's played this bowl. Well, Tony Webb wins the title.
Mark, 1 time out.
In his previous game, he played an absolute bomb against Gary Smith. With his last bowl in the second set, can he repeat it?
Well, if you're going to find a big bowl, Mark, now's your time. This bowl to stay in the tournament. Just going for the draw.
Needs to bend.
Needs to bend quick.
So you're going to use Tony's last bowl.
That's it.
1 shot, Tony Webb. Second set
Tony
tied
Webb.
match. Tony Webb.
Ties the second set, 6-all. So takes Tour Card 2. Gives him a place in all of the WBT ranking events for next year. Well, thanks for your company, Neil, for that second set. Mark just wasn't on the same form as he was in his semi-final game at all.
No, I think he just struggled for his pace. Tony was the more consistent player.
Let's see the replays from the game. Mark there playing a runner. He was very unfortunate with somebody got shot out of that one. Here again we see Mark urging this ball to just get the jack, and it just nicks it over to Tony's bowl. When he's trying to chase shots sometimes, Neil, it's not easy.
No. See Tony just sliding through there, it's very hard. Not the end there, Tony, 3 cracking bowls.
Well, again, thanks so much for your company. Safe journey back. Have a great summer.
Thanks very much, Janice. I'll go and console Mark now and get him on a plane.
Something like that. Safe journey home. Thanks everybody out there for listening in. Join us again 5th of November for the Scottish International Open. We'll be there for every bowl played. In the meantime, I'll leave you to it. Have a great summer. Passing over to Richard Maddison and the presentation of the tour card to Tony Webb. Thanks for your company. Have a great summer.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, time for presentation time for the second final. And like I said before, as always, in any good match, there always has to be a runner-up, unfortunately. I'd like to show your appreciation, please, to Mark McPhee. Well, ladies and gentlemen, your tour card champion number 2, because there are always 2 in the tour card. Let's give a warm, warm welcome to Tony Webb. Come and have a stand here. Must do recover. Well, well done, gentlemen. Cracking match between you both. Thoroughly enjoyable. And Mark, I'll come to you first. I know that you've got a long flight home very shortly, if you can make it. It was great to see you over here, and no doubt you'll be trying again to get over.
Yeah, it's nice to be here, and yes, I'll be trying. Never go.
No. You played well all the way through, and I have to say that watching, I'm really impressed that you always take it not just seriously, but very professionally.
It's just the way I've been taught to play since I've been 9 years old. Just doing it, keep it simple, and ignore everything that's going around me. And all credit to when he was brilliant with it. I struggled, but he had me under pressure.
And coming to you, Tony. Well, what can I say? You've actually been playing very well all the tournament, and again, watching you, you were very, very consistent.
Well, I had some loose ends there. It was a bit scrappy that second. I have this thing in my hand. I'm not all over that.
And of course, so your first tournament will be in Perth? No, not Australia, that's Perth, Scotland. Tell me, how does it feel to actually win that, knowing that you've now got 3 major tournaments?
You wouldn't believe how nice it is. And I haven't got qualified by now, all the others. So you won't see me at Bromley.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. It's been absolutely great having you both, and can I wish you both safe trips home. Thanks very much. And to everybody and the viewers, thanks for watching, and we will be back with some more for you. In the meantime, thanks very much. So it's cheerio from us all here at Blackpool Newton Hall in the co-operative Funeral Care Masters 2016.